Hey everybody, this is Eric from CenterPoint Church and also the Plugged In Church podcast. Wanted to make a quick video to give an overview of our new LED lighting system here at CenterPoint. Now, this video kind of has two purposes. Primarily, it's designed to be a training video for our own techs here at CenterPoint Lewis Center, but I also wanted to make it available to our podcast listeners and anybody else who might stumble across it. I know that there are lots of churches out there that are looking to get into LEDs, that are looking for kind of budget-conscious decisions as far as lighting and also controllers. And I know that when we were looking, it was very hard to find good information. And so I wanted to put this up so that everyone could see what we're using, how we're using it, and how it's effective for us. Now, the fixtures themselves that we came up with, we have 8 Stellar Labs RGB Par 64s. So those are the colored wash lights on the stage. We have 6 Stage 8 Par 64 white LED lights that give us our whitewash. And then we have 2 of the Stage 8 MIABY spotlights, one for our cross and one for our ASL interpreter each week. All of that together, we were able to buy some things used, trade some other things up, but all of it together, even if you were buying it brand new, comes out to just about $1,500. So again, this is a system that's very accessible to many small churches. Now, a couple things to note. First of all, these LEDs are not flicker-free. Flicker-free is a term that affects when you're videotaping LEDs, basically. So if you're using iMag in your church, or if you're doing sermon podcasting, that sort of thing, this may not work for you. You've probably noticed that the camera has some trouble with the fades behind me, even as I've been talking. So that's the first thing. The second thing, of course, is that the white LED lights are still just not as bright as an incandescent light. Before we were using 4 Source 4 pars, and those 4 lights were easily brighter than the 6 LED cans that we're using now. But in our situation, in our setting, it works okay. As you can see, we're in a warehouse space. We don't have any natural light, no windows on Sunday mornings, and so the space is very dark. It doesn't take a lot of white to give us what we need. So that's what we have up front, and now we're going to go to the controller and I'll show you how we're making it all work. Okay, so this is the Chauet Obey40. We looked at a lot of different controllers for control of our new lighting system, and this is what we settled on. This is kind of a mid-price controller, and you can actually buy controllers from any number of manufacturers that use this same basic hardware. You can buy one for about $80 that is going to be cheaper control than this. This one is about $120 and it's very middle of the road. You can also spend as much as $200 or $250 on a controller that is going to have identical functionality. Just kind of depends on how high of quality you want the hardware to be. So this console has 3 main sections, and in order to keep this simple, I'm just going to look at this from the perspective of a typical CenterPoint service. In this case, I'm actually using the cues for our first service with this setup, which is November 3rd, 2013. So on the console, there are 3 main sections. The first is fixtures, the second is scenes, and the third is chase. And we're going to talk about how we're using each of those. The fixture buttons are pretty well set. The fixtures are the kinds of things that you will typically never need to adjust on a Sunday morning. But just to show you what each of the fixtures does, each fixture controls a group of lights on the stage or a single light on the stage. In this case, we have fixture 1, which controls the front white lighting on channels 2, 4, 6, and 8. And I'll give you just an example of what that looks like. So this is channel 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now, we'll look at fixture 2. Fixture 2 controls the back white lighting on channels 2 and 4. And so again, you'll see these come up on 2 and 4. Now, fixture 3 is the front colored lights, red, blue, and green on C1, and then red, blue, and green on C2. So again, we'll show you red, blue, green, red, blue, green. Now, each of fixtures 3, 4, 5, and 6 control 2 of the colored lights. So 3 is the front colors, 4 is the back colors, 5 is the left side back wall wash, and 6 is the right side back wall wash. Fixtures 7 and 8 control the 2 spotlights. 7 is the cross, and 8 is the interpreter, and these work the same way. So if I look at fixture 7, and I'll show you this here on the wall, if you push up channel 1, that's the master dimmer. Channel 2 is a strobe effect, which we will never use. Channel 3 is the red, 4 is the green, 5 is the blue, 6 is the white, 7 will roll through different color macros, and 8 will control the speed that those macros move at. In most cases, we're just using the white plus some color on the cross, the white on the interpreter. So these have been assigned, and we're using different banks of scenes to control those lights differently. Now, the Chauet Obey40 has 30 banks of 8 scenes each, so that's 240 scenes. If you are familiar with our old lighting system here at CenterPoint, we had 8. So 240 is a big step up. Now, some of these banks I have preset. So for example, bank 30 is preset as our different white options. So preset 1 is a blackout. Preset 2 is just the interpreter light. Preset 3 is the pre-service, post-service white lighting. 4 is the band lighting. 5 is the message lighting. 6 is all the whites. 7 is everything on full blast. And 8 is the cross spot only. So that's bank 30. Now in banks 25 through 29, I have different color presets. So bank 25 is just 7 color presets: red, green, blue, purple, teal, yellow, and everything on. And again, I'll show you what that looks like. So again, we have red, green, blue, purple, teal, yellow, everything on, and there's nothing in the 8th spot. 25 is the colors with no whites. Bank 26 is those same color presets with the pre-post service lighting. 27 is those same color presets with music lighting. 28 has message lighting, and 29 has all of the whites on, full blast, with those same 7 colors. So basically those are just presets so that I can quickly grab them, copy and paste them into the earlier banks for each service, which is exactly what I've done. So right now, banks 1 and 2 have our presets for this Sunday. Preset 1 is our pre-service lighting, 2 is the first song, and so on and so forth through the order. Altogether, we have, I believe, 13 scenes. So we have the first bank of 8, and then the first 5 scenes in the second bank are also in use this week. Now, I'll show you what some of these look like in just a second, but first I want to explain the chase. So the Chauet Obey40's one kind of downfall is that it makes it difficult to get a smooth fade from scene to scene. And for a little while, we actually thought that this console wasn't going to work for us because of this. In the end, it's actually fairly simple. All you have to do is put the console in auto mode. Once you put it in auto mode, it will cycle the scenes, and then you can use the speed and fade time faders to adjust the speed of the transition. Now, the nice thing is that once the console has been put in auto mode and you have set those transition speeds, you can then push the auto button and move in and out of the auto mode. So basically, this auto button becomes a play-pause button for the entire show. Now, you can use it that way to cycle through a bank of scenes, but on most Sundays, we'll be using more than 8 scenes for the service, so I have them set up in a chase. And I'll show you now. So chase 1. On a normal Sunday, you're going to come in. Chase 1 is going to have all of your scenes for the first service. And you'll see, if I show you on the screen here, that as soon as I push chase 1, we snap into the first scene, the pre-service set for this Sunday. Now again, once you've done that, you're going to want to push auto. And I'm going to set a fade time of about 2 seconds and a speed time of about 3 seconds. Now what this means is that once I push the auto button, about 3 seconds later, the board will fade to the next scene. Once it's done that, we'll want to push the auto button again to transition out of that, that fade. So let's go to the stage. I'll show you what it looks like, and we can kind of talk about this. So we push chase 1 to get into the first scene. This is the pre-service set. When I'm ready to bring the lights up on the band for the first song, I'm going to push the auto button, and you'll see the white lights come up. Now once that's happened, you push the auto button again, and now it'll stay in that scene for as long as you need it to until you're ready to go on. When you're ready to go on to the second song, you push the auto button again, and you'll see the color fade to yellow, and now we're into the second song. When we're ready for the third song, we push the auto button again, and we get the third song. Now at the end of the third song this week, we have a video clip, so we're going to go to a scene that is just the interpreter light. If you have worked with us much here at CenterPoint, you know that we very rarely go to a full blackout. So I'll push the auto button again, the colored lights will fade, and you'll see that the interpreter light remains on. After that, we bring the lights back up on Pastor Dave for the announcements, and so on and so forth. Now the cues are marked on to our service order just like they've always been, and all you have to do is when it's time to move to each scene, you push that auto button to advance. The display will always show the scene that you are in, so you can see if you are in the right spot as you look through the service order, and the scenes move sequentially. Even though there are some duplicate scenes in this service, it was much simpler to just keep them all in order so that the numbers continue to ascend. It's just much simpler that way. Now what happens if I make a mistake? What happens if I realize I'm in scene 6 and I need to be in scene 7? The good news is I can always turn off the chase and nothing will change with the lighting, and then I can push scene 7 and go into that scene. From there I can again just push the auto and it'll cycle on into scene 8. So hopefully that is kind of a basic explanation. Hopefully that makes some sense, and I hope it's helpful. If you have any questions about how we're using the console, about the lighting that we're using, please feel free to leave those in the comments, and I'd be happy to do my best. On behalf of CenterPoint or the Plugged In Church, depending on what brought you to this video, thanks for watching.